The Hauraki Gulf is a 4,000 kilometre square area off of the North Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand. The area is famous for its marine life. And its boil-ups, where nutrient-rich water induces feeding frenzies above and below the surface. Within this gulf, a small team of researchers tirelessly chase these boil-ups, hoping to shine a light on an elusive, globally endangered species. A species largely understudied in these waters until now.
Why manta?
I've been a marine biologist now for closing in on 40 years. And I've worked on all manner of species, and I have to say that mantas still rank as my favorite of all marine species. A large part of that does have to do with their intelligence. They are the smartest fish. They have the biggest brain of any fish, and you just have that sense when you swim with them. I mean, they're checking you out as much as you're checking them out, and you can just see from that eye that there's a lot going on up there. We hear a lot about stingrays, but no offense to the stingrays, but mantas are much more intelligent and just a much more exciting animal to engage with. In most parts of the world where we have oceanic mantas, they're really in bad shape. Their populations are declining drastically, either through targeted hunting and especially through bycatch fisheries.
While manta are protected in New Zealand under the Wildlife Act, a key threat is the lack of data on their population. Something marine biologist Lydia is hoping to change.
I work in New Zealand, heard lots of stories. I guess the main thing was that everyone had a story, but no one was bringing all that information together. So I was like, hey, I'll do it.
In 2017, Lydia established a citizen science project called Manta Watch, Aotearoa, New Zealand.
And a key reason for that is because it's got a heavy citizen science focus, and so it's all about people spotting and watching manta rays, really. And citizen scientists really focus and drive our research. Everybody's data is just crucial. It helps us build a picture of where these animals are and when. Now we're getting, up to 6 different sightings every day from all over the country. Oh, there's a little bit of krill and some kahawai. Oh.
Several days into a manta survey, Lydia and skipper Lily were overboard, having jumped into the ocean to swim with a ball of krill, the food of manta. While the pair are swimming with the little guys, a message comes in. The big animals aren't far away.
What?
Is your radio on? Basically, there was a sighting of a manta about an hour ago, south of Aotearoa. So I've text Richie the coordinates.
Okay.
And hopefully it's still on the surface.
All right, so we should just shoot over there right now, you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon.
We have to track them down out in their pelagic habitat. That's long hours at sea, looking for a wingtip to break the surface.
Nothing splashing over there, no bird. Yeah.
Once we get it, we immediately put a drone up in the air, zero in on where the animal is, how it's moving, position our boat in front of it. And then I slip into the water with my tag. It's quite a process, and for sure your heart is pounding the whole time.
But there's a lot of effort that goes into those few minutes that you're in the water with the manta ray.
We don't think that it hurts the manta very much. It's kind of like getting your ear pierced or something, but nonetheless it's invasive. So we wouldn't do it if we didn't think it was a very important, worthwhile thing to do. After tagging, it stayed with us for about 25 minutes. And it's as if it was like, what are you? Like you caused this little pinprick in my back, which I'm not that excited about, but you know, what are you?
I mean, they've got the largest brain of any fish, and that's always a big thing that kind of hits home to me, and you really see that in how they interact with humans, but then also how they interact with each other.
Our aim was to see, do these animals spend the entire calendar year right offshore of New Zealand, or do they move? I kind of hypothesized that they might move a little bit north up to Northland, maybe up to the far North Cape, in order to have a little bit warmer water during the winter.
Setyawan, he's the PhD candidate, aka a drone master, and he also does a lot of analysis on the satellite tags.
So we programmed the tag to stay on the manta for 90 days. So from there, we can actually monitor the activity of the track animals. So when the antenna breaks the surface, it will transmit data to the satellite. From the satellite, the data will be transmitted.
One of the tagged manta travelled 1,789 kilometres from New Zealand to southern Fiji.
When it's due, the tag will pop off. And from the satellite tag, we see that they leave New Zealand waters to the north before heading north to the south of Fiji and south of Tonga.
Aotearoa's oceanic mantas are world record holders, so they travel further, dive deeper, and dive into colder waters than any other mantas have ever been shown to do.
As researchers, we can't work by ourselves, so having citizen scientists that have contributed a lot to sighting data that Manta Watch New Zealand is now working on is really, really helpful because we have more eyes at sea.
The term hotspot's something that kind of made up ourselves. Basically, it's an area where we've had consistent sightings over time. When it's on, that whole area just fills with krill, meters deep. Like, you get in, you can't see people in front of you. Oceanics, particularly in New Zealand anyway, we've seen them eating a lot of krill. And that's because these guys are filter feeders. The manta rays actively swimming through the krill cephalic fins, so their head fins are wide open, and they use that to funnel their prey into their mouths.
While the whales who mantas share this territory with use sound to locate and communicate about krill, researchers are yet to fully understand how manta find this prey.
So my name is Kozmian-Ledward, and I did a master's degree on megafauna in the Hauraki Gulf, and we were doing aerial surveys. So we're looking for the whales and dolphins and sharks, but also looking for like patches of food, so patches of like fish or patches of krill. They're just such an important prey for so many creatures. Do mantas smell krill? I don't know. Can they hear krill? Yeah, I'm not really sure. Or whether they just kind of know which locations are good to look in. Yeah, I don't really know. And I guess that's something over time with getting more manta identification photos and also with the satellite tags, you can try and see whether, do we get the same manta coming back to the same places year after year, or there's a lot of questions.
Nice hand.
Oh,
The big thing in New Zealand is we were getting lots of verified sightings of manta rays, but our identification numbers were really low. The pattern on their belly spots, is crucial. That's how we can identify individuals.
Here at the beach over the weekend as tropical cyclone Cody hits our
Cyclone Cody. Waves of a whopping 7 metres were reported up in the Bay of Islands this morning.
One of the biggest challenges to this small and independent research team are the changing weather conditions. An incoming cyclone means the team have to head back to base.
So now, stage 2 is we have an inventory list, and so we have the cool game of like ticking stuff off.
By ticking things off, Lydia is referencing a database she's created of all the manta sightings so far.
So it's real good when they somersault and their bits come out of the water. So you got a nice ID and then write in with so you can get your gender and any injuries and stuff. This is a really nice example of awesome ID shots. So where we have a really clear image of the belly spots.
Re-watching footage of the day the manta was tagged, Lydia pays specific attention to the distinct pattern on the underside of the manta. These belly spots are unique to this individual and will be used by the research team to track this manta throughout its life.
Oh, this one's quite cool. So this one's got a few spots. Hers are just right under her gills. Another really cool thing about this individual is that she's heavily pregnant. So you can kind of see from the drone shot here as she's somersault feeding. So you can kind of see her big belly kind of poking through there. So this was real special. From a conservation management perspective, like it's crazy important to have this stuff documented.
Mantas are amazing animals. They have a 12 to 13 month gestation period, so it's actually longer than a human baby. They only give birth typically to a single baby at a time.
But when it comes to manta, Lydia is quick to remind people that it is not just belly IDs the team collect from photo and video imagery.
Here's Debbie. She's quite famous for having a not so awesome encounter with fishing line. Just here and here. She has injuries to her cephalic fin and then scarring. It's all about forward motion for them. So they can't swim backwards, they swim into things. What we think's happened is the fishing line got wrapped around her cephalic and actually cut through the nerves. So it's essentially paralysed. She can't unfurl it. It's very likely not to heal.
Perhaps the biggest threat to New Zealand's oceanic manta is the population's data-deficient nature. Reports are unable to make assessments as to whether fisheries are having a population impact, because simply put, their population is unknown. This is where Lydia's project, Manta Watch, could be a game changer. It has the potential to connect community sightings to fisheries bycatch data so that a holistic picture can be formed about these globally endangered animals. On the first fine day after Cyclone Cody, Lydia returns to this mission.
So we have a few challenges. Having the conditions to be out in the key areas. It's putting yourself in a good territory at a good time and then hoping that it pays off. And as soon as you get a little bit of chop, any kind of white water, you're done. You know, like it just makes spotting them just exponentially harder. You know, like Mark and I, just this season, I think we've probably been out 12 to 14 trips without seeing anything.
But that's when you have to remember, it's not just Lydia's eyes on the water anymore. Around the nation there are a team of citizen scientists looking for manta and submitting their sightings to the project.
People are just so amped up when they've had an encounter. You can easily have it where you'll get 5 different mantas in 3 different parts of the country all popping up at the exact same time, which is big for an oceanic population. I want to really encourage questions and I'll answer whatever questions people have. You get some videos that are a bit shaky because they're super excited and
yes, it's there! I never saw one before. What just happened?
So every season I have a bit of a personal goal. The thing that I have really wanted to see for a long time is courtship behaviour. And oceanics are pretty renowned for amazing courtship behaviour, but it's fleeting and it's such a rare encounter to get. Yeah, Steve Hathaway, he got some sweet footage in 2019 of a pair of courting manta rays, and they were with him for like an hour or so. And so I knew it was possible over here, and so I was kind of like, oh man, one day it will happen to me. And then yeah, it just so happens, we were very fortunate to bump into a pair of courting mantas the other day. On the surface. Let's bring them through. There it is! Woo! I see the belly! Yeah, keep going, you're just about above it. Right, stop. Right. Stop. You're above it. Oh yeah. Oh shit, there's two! Ah! Oh shit, there's two. It's an endurance test. The male will follow the female. Synchronized swimming, like turning around, they'll do underwater pirouettes. He'll just mirror her and follow her all the way until she gives birth, and then they'll mate, and then we're not quite sure what happens after that. The mantas actually actively came towards the boat and started interacting with the stern. And Lils has a little dinghy on the back, and the big female was like boffing it a little bit. The only thing with courtship is that they don't necessarily show their bellies to the surface, so I couldn't get an ID with the drone. And so it was a bit, had to get in and see if we can get some in-water IDs.
And just like that, they appear from underneath you. You only need to take a breath, and by the time you're back down, these curious animals have come back around. Lydia explains this is likely the first time they've ever interacted with human beings. The feeling is mutual. Nothing in the world prepares you for an experience like this.
I don't know how long that's going to go on for. I mean, it literally could be months and months. They could be doing that for months. Because the female we saw, she's not that pregnant. You can see a little bump, but it's not crazy. And so, she's probably got at least 4 or 5 months more in her before she's ready.
they are breeding here in New Zealand waters. We've seen courtship now, we've seen fresh mating scars. It's clear that these animals are doing their thing from a romantic perspective while they're in New Zealand waters. But then the next question becomes, are they giving birth here?